Look, if you want to be more influential with the people that you're meeting on a day-to-day basis, whether it's in sales, your network, your dating, whatever, there's one fundamental thing that needs to happen in every interaction for you to be able to influence the other person. And that thing is called rapport. Now, a lot of people talk about rapport, especially salespeople or coaches or whatever, but rapport can really be built in different things, in different ways, essentially, okay? So rapport happens when you have an underlying connection with the person that you're speaking to, okay? And what really rapport is either you are similar to that person, so therefore they'll like that person. Like if you've ever been in another country, like you're in a holiday in Italy and you're an American, right? And you run into a different American, you automatically have rapport because you have something in common. But where rapport really stems from is the following. Okay, rapport really stems from like anything and everything in your brain. As if you watch this channel more often, you'll see that I often say like, hey, anything and everything in your brain stems from the imperative drive to survive. Okay, so what makes you survive creates rapport. Okay, so what do I mean is this: there's two ways in which a person is going to feel rapport with someone else. Okay. And those two ways are, number one, if you are similar, right? And I'm not just talking about common interest or whatever, okay? That can help, but what I'm really talking about is you're similar in your kind of cadence, in how you speak and how you carry your body, these types of things, because that signals subconsciously that you are from the same tribe, okay? Why? Because back in the days, we would have like tribes, little tribes, when you were a caveman and stuff, of like, 50 people, 80 people, whatever. So small group of people. Now, if you were running into a different person from a different tribe, that could be highly dangerous. That person could just kill you, right? Because there's limited resources naturally. People just want to kill the other tribe and take over and stuff like that. So what we would unconsciously do is we would develop similarities in how we speak, or like obviously we wouldn't speak at that time, but like how we mumble or how we walk or how we carry ourselves and these types of things. So these things happen unconsciously, and you'll notice that, if you, for example, get into a relationship or you and your best friend, usually what happens is you are very much in rapport. You spend a lot of time together, you're from the same tribe, you have a connection, and you start developing a lot of the same mannerisms, etc., which show the tribe, show you and the other person that you are in rapport, meaning you are in the same tribe. Right? So why is that built from the imperative of surviving? Because now you can see, now you can tell without the other person wearing a jersey with the name of the city that it's the same tribe. Okay? So that allows you to survive. Now the second way, so that's the similarity way, right? And how you actually implement that way is by mimicking or kind of modeling someone's behavior, as I just mentioned, right? So let's say that someone frequently uses a certain word, then you can start using that same word and throwing it back to them, right? Or if someone is very much, speaks with their hands as they speak, or they speak fast, or these types of things, you can start mimicking that back to them, okay? You can match and mirror, okay? Match and mirror, essentially, their sub-communication, okay? You can also mirror their words and stuff like that, but you don't want to do it too much. You don't want to make this obvious. It needs to be beneath the surface, okay? So it's like, if you mirror their sub-communication, then they're going to automatically feel subconsciously that you're from the same tribe. So we're using this principle of rapport and of survival and of the same tribe. Consciously, we're kind of manipulating that phenomena of being the same in a tribe. We're manipulating that consciously to make the other person feel like they're connected to us. Does that make sense? So that is really what we're doing in step one. But the other thing is actually not that someone is similar, but that someone is actually who you would like to be like, right? So let's say a role model, okay? Or a figure of authority. So if you're in high authority, then you'll also be able to really influence people, okay? So a lot of people really focus too much just on the similar one. But I want you to think of this. Who has more influence over you? A police officer or your best friend? Well, it's probably going to be the police officer. And obviously I understand it's a loaded question because it's like the police officer has certain natural given authority because of the uniform, because he can do certain things. But let me give you a different example then. Someone who just is very much a leader and he speaks to you like he is a leader, right? And he speaks to you with a lot of authority. He makes it seem, he communicates like he is a billionaire, like he is a massive boss or whatever. You're probably, even though that guy is not in a police uniform, you're probably gonna do a lot of what he says just because he has a lot of authority. Now, if this guy is gonna go too far in that and he's just gonna be an asshole and try to boss you around, essentially, that's too much of that authority, okay? So you essentially have a continuum where you have, you know, basically you're below someone, okay? You're in complete, let's say you're an authority asshole, okay? Just to make it nice and graphic. You're a authority asshole. And then you have that sweet spot where you are in rapport, right? So you are in rapport, but at the same time, you are in authority, okay? And you're someone who that person would want to be. We as humans like people who either are similar to us or who are like what we would want to be like, okay? Our role models essentially, which is what I wrote down right here. So you want to be in this space, okay? So at some level, and you want to get obviously a feel for this, right? You want to communicate a lot and use your awareness to learn where you are on this spectrum. And with a person that's more sensitive, you want to be more here. With a person that's a little bit more tough and respects someone who's confident, stuff like that, you want to be a little bit more here. So this sweet spot is obviously not a static sweet spot, right? Because with a different person, you might have to switch this sweet spot to here or here or here even, okay? So it is a continuum, but it switches with every person. It switches with every interaction, and you want to be flexible in your behavior, in your communication. But listen, if you are here, the best analogy that I could give you for it is like the doctor, okay? If you're in a sales context, if you're trying to network with someone, trying to date someone, the best position you could be in is on one level, they feel like they're your friend and you're in the same tribe, but on another level, they feel like you're the tribe leader, okay? And you are for them, you have their best interest in mind, but you are the tribe leader and you are gonna lead and set the authority and set the frame and the tone of the interaction. And how you do that is obviously by your sub-communication, okay? And how you sub-communicate then in the right way is by how you view and carry yourself and how you enter the interaction, the identity and the frame of mind that you enter the interaction from. If you enter the interaction from, I'm actually, okay, let's put it like this. If you feel like you're right here, right? If you feel like you're actually, like that, let's say that this is the person that you're talking to, right? And let's say that you actually feel like you're here and you're gonna enter that interaction and you're gonna try to talk like you're here. That's not gonna work because you're gonna have to consciously manage every single word that you say, right? Because your subconscious is gonna automatically go off of the frame and the identity that you have right in there, okay? That you're operating from. So if you go before the interaction, and obviously this is something you need to condition in to make it automatic, but at first it's going to be a bit of a fake it till you make it situation, which I don't like that word because it basically says that it's fake, but it's really not, okay? It's just believe it. You choose to believe this until you really have the external evidence to back it up. You're just stepping into something that's not completely in external reality yet. So what you want to do is you want to step into it like you're here, kind of like a fake it till you make it situation, and then you're automatically going to communicate that. And the more times you do this, the more default this is going to become for you because you're showing your brain it's safe, etc., etc. So this is really what you want to do. Don't focus on those dudes that say like, oh, you know, just speak like this, because you're going to have to consciously manage that all the time and you don't have the brain capacity. Your subconscious governs 95% of your communication style. So the only way to really come across like this is to be it, okay? It is essentially be, right, do, and then have. Whereas a lot of people say, hey, it's do, then have, right, and then be it, right? So do it, do this, say it like this, then you'll get the result and then you'll feel like it. No, my friend. It is visualize you already have the result, step into the identity of already being it, and then doing those actions automatically, and therefore you will have those external results. Okay, and that then does reinforce who you are and what you've done. However, that's not the place to start because that is obviously not a workable strategy. So that's what you want to do here. And then if you come across in your communication like you have the authority, that's really how people determine your value, right? So if you operate from this, then you're going to talk like you're here, and then naturally is going to make the other person view you as here. So on the one level, you're going to speak in a similar manner. You're going to ask them genuinely interested questions, whatever. You're going to show them that you're not there to kill them, right? Which is obviously an analogy, but you get my point. And then from there on, you're going to lead, right? You're going to speak with authority. So how does someone with authority actually speak, to also give you that piece of the equation? It's basically, we have three different tonalities, right? So you got an upwards tonality, you got a neutral tonality, and you got a downwards tonality. And this is, seeking rapport, This is neutral rapport, and this is breaking rapport, or let's say downward rapport, okay? So obviously, if you think of a teacher, when you were a little kid and you were talking to the teacher, you would probably say, hey, mister, how are you doing today? That's seeking rapport because that person is in authority. So you're going to naturally speak like this to them. And this is a speaking style that sub-communicates, I am lower value. So a lot of dudes, when they're speaking to, for example, a woman that they really like or they think is really pretty, they'll do this naturally by default because they view themselves here and the girl here. Or if you're trying to network and you view someone here and you're here, guys, you're just sub-communicating that you're lower value to them, and nobody really wants that. Then how the teacher communicates to you is probably like, Peter, how are you doing today? Right? It's either neutral or it's break-in rapport, okay? And that sub-communicates that they are right here, above, right? And above is not per se bad, it's not toxic, you just don't gotta take it too far, right? If you're only doing this, then obviously you're going to just break rapport completely. So it's always about finding that balance. It's always about finding that sweet spot. But I can definitely tell you that if you're in sales, you're trying to network, most people naturally, because most people are just scared, they naturally veer too much on this side of the equation. So if you're trying to improve this right now, I would urge you to look more into moving towards this side, because most people naturally will be more on this side. And then if you go more to that side, you're going to be in balance, okay? So that's really how you want to think of it, guys. Be in rapport, but be a leader, be an authority figure, be the teacher, be the doctor. These people all have their students and clients and whatever best interest in mind, but they're still going to be a leader. They're not going to be tossed around with. They're not going to be messed about. To be fair, a lot of teachers actually are, but that's not the ones we're using in this example. So use these frames, use these identity principles, use these influence and communication tactics to increase your sales, grow your business, increase your romantic life, whatever it is you want to do with it. And my friend, like this video if it was value to you. Comment what you're about to do with it, and I will see you in the next one.